Hello, Kehilat Darchei Tzion, Moner Shabbat, Parashat Mishpatim. In our parasha, we have a list of different situations where people hurt each other, harm each other, and then we also have what the consequences. Sometimes someone has to pay money, sometimes it's a punishment. And for example, we have two situations in our parasha where we have a person attacking someone else and injuring them. In one situation, the Torah tells us that the attacker has to pay. What do they pay? They have to take care of their medical treatment, rapo yerapeh, and they have to pay for the time where the person who's injured cannot work. Rak shivto yiten verapo yerapeh. You pay for the time that the person is staying at home and can't work, and the money that they lose at this time, and also you pay for the medical treatment. A few psukim later, we have another situation where one person hurts someone else, and there the Torah says something much more severe. The Torah says, "Ayn tachat ayn, shen tachat shen, yad tachat yad, regel tachat ragel, kviya tachat kviya, petza tachat patza, chabura tachat chabura." The punishment is that the person who attacked, who injured someone else, the result is that he gets the same injury. The punishment is that he has to suffer the same suffering that the injured person is also suffering. What is the difference between these cases? And what does Chazal teach us about the relationship between these two situations? One could argue that maybe the difference is that in the first case, the situation can be mended. Yes, the person is injured, but it's only a temporary injury. And after he heals, after he's taken care of the correct way, he can recover completely. In a situation like that, so the idea is that the person who injured someone else has to take responsibility for his actions, and he has to take care medically of the injured person, and he has to take responsibility for the money that the person is losing since he's not working. But in the second case, there's something much more severe. The injury is not something that can change. It's not temporary. The person has lost his eyesight forever. They've lost their leg, they've lost their limb, and maybe they have a bruise that is never going to be fixed. They're going to have an everlasting injury. And in a situation like this, so then the punishment is that the person has to suffer the same injury. It's either the responsibility or it's a punishment. Come Chazal and teach us, according to the Torah Shebe'al Peh, that the second parashiyah, the second story of Ayn Tachat Ayn, you shouldn't take it literally, but rather the person who injures someone else has to pay. He has to pay for the loss of the limb, of the eyesight, of the losing the ability to hear. The person who injured someone else has to pay for that injury. And he doesn't suffer physically for what he has done. And then Chazal combine both parashot and tell us you don't only pay for the limb that the person has lost, but you also pay for the medical treatment, and you also pay for the time that the person is sitting in home and doesn't work. So they combine both parashot together and turn it into one story. It doesn't matter what the injury is, you always pay for the injury itself, for the medical treatment, and for the time that the person isn't working for, and there are other payments too. What does the Torah Shebe'al Peh do here? The Torah Shebichtav is telling us when someone causes an injury that cannot be fixed, the truth is that the person who's done this terrible deed has to be punished severely. But when he has punished so strongly, he doesn't pay for anything else. He just suffers this punishment. Chazal tell us, wait, when he gets this severe punishment, he doesn't pay. He doesn't take responsibility for what he has done. He only suffers the consequence. So then, Chazal, Torah Shebe'al Peh tells us, okay, maybe we're going to pay a price on what the person actually deserves, but we're going to give him and the person who's injured a chance to recuperate, a chance to overcome this terrible situation. There is an opening for tshuva for the person who has done something bad. Yes, he doesn't get the punishment he deserves, but he takes responsibility. He pays money for what he has done wrong. He pays for the medical treatment. He takes responsibility. There's an option of tshuva, of mending the case and helping the other person recuperate and start a new path. And I think this is a message for us. Sometimes in society we see people that do wrongdoings in the national level, wrongdoings on the personal level, and we're waiting for the other person to pay the price severely. We want the person to be punished with all the might that we can, and the other person deserves it. But the Torah Shebe'al Peh teaches us it's important sometimes to take down the punishment and open up the option of tshuva, of starting a new path, a better path. Shabbat Shalom.